Amazon delivered this package of new books that I received today, including Preparing for Success After Prison, the workbook, and also Preparing for Success After Prison, the facility guide. I'm really enthusiastic about sharing this with people who work in jails and prisons across America because I am very confident that people who are living in those challenging circumstances need some type of direction. They're getting direction from many sources, including staff members, including the probation officer who interviewed them before they went in, including the people with whom they're serving time. But what they don't get a lot of is hope. They don't get a lot of pathways that they can follow to a better life, a life of meaning and relevance and dignity. And sometimes it's helpful for them to hear from others who have already gone through the path. And that's what our team at Prison Professors offers. There's an old Chinese proverb that says, if you want to know the road ahead, ask somebody who has walked back. And in this book, I am showing the strategies that leaders taught me. They taught me how to stop feeling sorry for myself or for where I am at a given moment, but instead start thinking about how I want to emerge from this very difficult and challenging experience. And in the course, we include, of course, audio files, video files, books, and a lot of self-directed lessons because we believe that people should be able to learn regardless of where authorities hold them. If somebody's sitting in a segregated housing unit, if somebody doesn't have access to classrooms, if somebody is just spending time inside, that's an opportunity for an individual to recalibrate and to think about what he or she can become. When I started serving my sentence back in 1987, I didn't have that kind of direction. I didn't know where I would find it. And I didn't get it until I learned from somebody who I considered to be a mentor. It's a mentor I never met. This mentor lived more than 2,500 years before I went into the system. His name was Socrates. And the reason I felt moved to listen to Socrates was because Socrates was also serving a sentence that would ultimately result in his losing his life. I read that book and it inspired me to want to learn from other people who had gone through the criminal justice system and figure out what does it really take to get through this journey with my dignity intact and with opportunities to go on and lead a life of meaning and relevance and prosperity. And that's what I learned from studying those leaders. And so in this course, Preparing for Success After Prison, one thing I promise is I never ask anybody to do anything that I didn't do. Now, I'm not asking people to go and do 9,500 days in prison like I did, but I am recommending they go through this with the mindset of developing, becoming the CEO of their own life, figuring out what is the best possible outcome. That's the first step. What does success look like? In my case, I knew that I wanted to get out of prison and be able to put on a suit and tie and walk into any environment and be able to, live my life without people judging me or discriminating against me for the bad decisions that I made as a young man. That's what we need. Every person going into that system needs to start with that concept. What does success look like? And it's not going to be the same for every individual. Some people are going to want to pursue one path while others are going to pursue another path. I never make a judgment on what somebody wants, but I always encourage them to follow this methodical pathway of starting by defining success. What's the best possible outcome? Once they've defined success, I urge them to go on to the next step and set some really clear goals. What types of goals can a person set today that are going to move that person just a little bit closer to what he wants to become in the days, weeks, months, years, and decades ahead? Throughout this course, I shared stories and strategies of how that pathway led to new opportunities, because when I went into prison, I was receiving one message from the system, and that message was that we don't care anything about your life after prison. All we want you to do is serve the term. And the term they wanted me to serve initially, what the prosecutor said was, They wanted me to serve. They said that if I served 300 years in prison, I still wouldn't pay back society for the bad decisions that I made when I was 20. Well, that's the system. The system is one that it seems really exquisitely designed to extinguish hope. But there's new hope, and that new hope comes from seeing changes that are happening in society. They're very different from when I started serving my sentence. Right now, there are opportunities do exist for an individual to influence the system, to see that person differently. But I didn't have that when I was inside, and I still learned from people who'd gone through the system. And I have so many stories, like the one I remember of Eugene Fisher gave me this vision of being able to someday even fall in love while I was in prison and find a wife and somebody with whom I could build my life, even though I was going to be incarcerated for more than a quarter century. But because I had that hope, I could find a pathway to start building it. So I really encourage you, if you're going into the system, really start by defining success. If you're in the system, look around you and say, do I want this for my life, or do I want something better? Because if I want something better, the follow-up is, well, what are the little goals that I could pursue today that will open those opportunities for me much later on in the journey? And then once you've done that, you have done the prerequisites for this course, which is preparing for success after prison. Following this prerequisite of defining success and setting goals is the third module. And the third module requires you to have the right attitude. You're not doing this, you're not pursuing this path for any other reason than you really want to transform your life. You really want to emerge successfully. So number 3, this is the first A of the program. You've got to have the right attitude. Number 4 is you've got to aspire to what you want to become. And that has to be something that's more than what you're doing right now. Like, even when I was locked inside of that prison, serving a 45-year sentence, I used to visualize what I'm doing right now, working from my home office, have my own technology, my own business that I create with hopes of bringing more value to the lives of other people. Because if we could help more people, we can help ourselves. We build a better society. We change the way the system works into something better. So I used to visualize that. I didn't know how I would do it, but it was the little goals that I set along the way that made it possible, which leads us to the 5th module of this course. Take action. You've got to act in ways that are consistent and harmonious with what you want to become. So every little step along the way has a direct influence on what you will become in the days, weeks, months, years, and decades ahead. The 6th is you've got to have real accountability metrics. Create them yourself. And I show in the course, I show the path that I used to create accountability metrics, but it's not about me. This is about participants in the course. What are you doing to develop these pathways to success? Then after 6, it's 7, it's awareness. So this awareness concept is one that's really important because the opportunities that were available to me, they were available to everybody else with whom I served time. And that's why I feel so passionately about sharing this message with other people, because whatever you're doing right now, you can choose to do something that's going to align with how you want to emerge successfully, or make it harder for you to emerge successfully. But you've got to have your own accountability metrics that allow you to measure whether you're making progress step by step along the way. And if you're on that path, not only are you aware of opportunities that you can seize, but the world is going to become aware of you. And this is a path that guided me through prison. It's still guiding me now as I continue to work to build my business. So what's the next module in here is authenticity. You got to be for real. You can't fake it. You can't say that you want to prepare for success after release, but then behave in such a way that suggests you're more comfortable living in jail or prison. So you've definitely got to be working to make the world aware. You've got to be authentic. You've got to be for real. And how do you live a life that shows you're for real, that shows you're the CEO of your own life? Well, you define success, you create a plan, you put priorities in place, you develop your tools, tactics, and resources. That's what these are. These are tools, tactics, and resources. They are showing my commitment to wanting to be the change I want to see in the world. And then you've got to execute your plan day after day, always holding yourself accountable. We have a whole module on that in this course. Then number 9, of course, is you've got to celebrate every achievement, no matter how small. Today, I'm kind of celebrating that I got this in the mail and I get to flip through these pages and remember all the work that went into developing it, thanking my team for the help that they've provided, and just really feeling this, taking this moment to say, this is awesome. Now I will be able to use this tool to help tens of thousands or perhaps millions of people transform their life. And then the final module in the course is about appreciation, expressing gratitude for the blessings that come your way. And even, excuse me, even while I was in prison, I lived with gratitude. I was grateful that I had my wife. I was grateful that I had opportunities to go to school. I was grateful that I had opportunities to build a strong support network. I was grateful that I had my health. And I want you to consider living in gratitude as well, because the more grateful you are, the more abundance will flow to you, the more you are part of the community. And that's the message kind of that I always felt to be necessary to prepare for success after prison. It's what I'm hoping you're thinking about as well. And I'm really grateful that I get this opportunity to distribute this message to people in jails and prisons from the state of Maine to the provinces of Guam and Saipan. And we're growing every day, but this is the way that I can try to be the change I want to see in the world. And it's what I want for you as well. So if you haven't gone through all of the Prison Professors courses yet, I encourage you that wherever you're getting this video, if you're in custody, you probably have access to our other courses as well, our other books. If you don't, you can certainly visit our website at prisonprofessors.com, and on the resources tab, you will just see a link to our books and courses, and your family members can order them for you. But you can also get everything for free if you're outside just visiting our website, because I publish everything here as well. But if you are outside, I also would encourage you to subscribe to our channels on iTunes and YouTube. We read this content to get it into more people, because we want people to be able to consume our content regardless of where they get it. I would never ask anybody to do anything that I didn't do while I was in prison. This is the same pathway that I'm using today. Even though I've been out of prison for 10 years, I still feel a big part of my heart is inside of there, wanting to help as many people as I can prepare for lives of dignity and meaning and relevance and contribution. And I strive to show the same strategies that I learned from leaders, because I think it can help others as well. So my name is Michael Santos. On behalf of our entire team at Prison Professors, I want to thank you for being a part of our community, and I want you to know that we believe in you.